Hey, yo, what up? Welcome back. This is not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Rob Markman. Shout out to everybody who likes, subscribes, comments, who just participates. Appreciate you all, all right? So I'm a couple of days late on this one, all right? I'm a little bit late on this one. But last week on January 23rd, UMG filed a motion in Texas to dismiss Drake's pre-lawsuit petition that he filed against UMG and iHeart Radio. Basically, these petitions that Drake filed were to seek a judgment and where the court would rule that UMG and iHeart had to turn over evidence to help Drake build a defamation case centered around the release and promotion of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, right? If you've been following the channel, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. He filed one in New York against UMG and Spotify, and then he filed one in Texas against UMG and iHeart Radio, okay? If you remember, Drake eventually dropped the New York petition and then straight up filed the lawsuit. So again, the petition is like a request for the court to help force UMG, Spotify, iHeart to turn over the necessary evidence that Drake needed to build his lawsuit. It's a pre-lawsuit motion. In New York, he straight up dropped the petition and he filed the lawsuit, and which says to me that, he didn't really need the evidence. He feels, or his team feels, like they have enough evidence that what they need to go ahead and file the lawsuit. I assumed that he would also drop the Texas petition, but he didn't for whatever reason. I'm no legal expert at all. I don't pretend to be. I do read the documents. I know about the music industry, right? And I've been reading and following the case and sharing with y'all, and, you know, very open with y'all, telling y'all what I know, what I understand, what I don't understand. So a few folks asked me for this video last week. The downside is that it was a 144-page document. And so, like, right off the bat, I'm like, man, where do you even start with that? But once I went through it, 81 pages of it is Drake's lawsuit, is listed as an Exhibit A and part of this filing. And so is Drake's original petition. So that takes up actually most of the document. You know, I kind of felt before I even read it, I felt like this was a moot point. Like it didn't really matter much. I mean, I guess it's good just to have this petition struck down if you're UMG, especially because the Texas petition is the one that is centered around defamation. That one was centered around defamation. And the actual lawsuit is centered heavily around defamation. I could be wrong, though. You know, regardless, though, it's kind of what UMG is saying in the paperwork. They're saying he filed the lawsuit already, so why do we even need to go through this motion, this petition, right? I'll put it up on the screen right here. It says, indeed, petitioner's Rule 202 petition, so the petitioner is Drake, Rule 202 petition is particularly baseless because on January 15, 2025, petitioner, again, that's Drake, filed a lawsuit against UMG in New York, asserting the very pay-for-play claim that petitioner that word is kicking my ass, ostensibly seeks to investigate here. So they're saying, hey, he already filed the lawsuit. Is baseless now because he already filed a lawsuit. They seem to be arguing that there's a Texas Citizens Participation Act, which is a law that protects citizens from retaliatory lawsuits that try to silence or punish them for speaking out on public matters. So it's built around to protect free speech, and UMG is arguing that them, and probably more specifically the song Not Like Us, is protected here, right? And I'll just put this up on the screen. If you see this paragraph C, this section C, Drake's Rule 202 petition is a response to UMG's exercise of its right to free speech. So UMG is arguing free speech. They cite a bunch of Texas cases that they believe will be relevant here that will support their argument for dismissal. UMG is also claiming that the petition was not filed in the proper court because they aren't in Texas. They don't operate out of Texas and in the specific county where this was filed. It's key to note, though, that iHeart operates in some capacity out of Texas, so I wonder if that's why the filing happened in Texas. UMG is also claiming that Drake doesn't have sufficient evidence and that the claims from the original petition comes from unnamed, unidentified, out-of-court declarants. They claim that it's hearsay. So, you know, whatever he has in the petition is hearsay. They're saying he has no real evidence. Ultimately, I mean, look, this is going to be a short video. You know, it's a lot of documents, a lot of paperwork, and I'm doing this again because some people ask me. But ultimately, I don't think much is going on here. I think this is UMG just saying, okay, there's this petition out here. It hasn't been addressed. We're gonna address it, and it's in their best interest to strike it down. I don't think there's much going on here. But and I don't know that this has any real bearing on the actual lawsuit now, because again, this was a request for information. This was a request for evidence. This was a request to help Drake build the lawsuit, but he's already filed it. So, I think the thing to really pay attention to at this point is the lawsuit. I don't know if this thing in Texas has any bearing, or has much bearing. I don't want to say any bearing, but has much bearing on what what happens in the lawsuit, because it's just different courts. I guess now if Texas ruled in Drake's favor, and they could, again, UMG did a good job of citing a bunch of different cases that support their claim of dismissal for this, but that doesn't mean that the court agrees with that. You know what I'm saying? This is just UMG's argument. I guess if Texas ruled in Drake's favor, they will force UMG and iHeart to turn over evidence that can help him, as he builds his case. But again, Drake just went ahead and filed the lawsuit. So maybe his team felt like they had sufficient evidence anyway. But again, if Texas sides with them, maybe, it's just kind of a bonus to what they feel they already have. I know this made headlines. And, at first I was like, hey, what is this? And I started to read through it, and it just kind of feels like literally, not the legal sense, but literally going through the motions. There's this pre-lawsuit motion up, and UMG is attempting to strike it down. We'll see what the court says. But, I think the one to watch is the New York lawsuit, is the actual lawsuit. So, we'll report more on it as, just more information becomes available. And we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments. I also think, I guess maybe the one relevant part that people are speculating on is what Super Bowl is in a couple of weeks. It's February 9th. So all these legal proceedings that we know in the lawsuit, that Super Bowl was named in the lawsuit. He's not suing the Super Bowl, but basically saying like, yo, UMG is promoting this song excessively and trying to hurt Drake's reputation and campaign to get the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl was like mentioned in the suit, not, again, he's not suing them. And with just the mere mention of the Super Bowl put pressure on NFL to not let Kendrick perform Not Like Us. But I don't think that's the case here. I mean, if you watch the games this weekend, if you watch the Eagles and the Commanders game, and during the commercials, I mean, they were kind of, Not Like Us was playing like in the ads for the Super Bowl, and heavily promoting Kendrick at the Super Bowl. So I don't think this has any bearing in the Super Bowl, and we're gonna have to wait a couple of weeks. I got to check the date, but we're gonna have to wait some time to see what the next shoe to drop in it. So I'll keep y'all updated when we get it. But no need to belabor this. Appreciate all y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Comment, like, subscribe, do all that. If you have any questions, hit me in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. All right. Peace.